Hello! Today I'm going to be showing you how to do the eyeshadow. For anybody who's not familiar with how to apply eyeshadow, especially for this stage, hopefully this video is helpful. Do these tutorials for your hair and for the makeup so that we can impart a unified and cohesive look while we are on stage. So when we're on stage, the stage lights are super bright. And so a lot of times the color can be washed out, and so it's important that we practice applying the color onto our eyes and on our face in order for the colors to still be visible while we're on stage under those bright lights. So today I'm going to work on how to apply the eyeshadow, where to apply it on the eye, depending on the features that we have. Everybody's eye looks a little bit different. Focusing on application of color, the opacity, how bright the color shows. So before I go into the eye look, I want to show you the products that I'm using. The eyeshadow palette that I'll be using a lot for, the crease is this e.l.f. eyeshadow palette. This is called Bite Shadow in Truffles. It has mid-tone brown, a darker brown, and then a black eyeshadow. For the lid, I have this very shimmery eyeshadow. It's a liquid eyeshadow. This one does really well. See how metallic that looks, which is great. We really want our eyeshadow to pop. I have several eye brushes that I like to use. These are like rounded, tapered eyeshadow brushes. This is to help apply the base color. The rounded shape up at the top allows for the eyeshadow to blend more easily. If I say these are our large blending brushes, I'm going to say these are our mid-size blending brushes, and they all have that similar rounded shape, which is going to help blend the eyeshadow a little bit more. These are smaller in size, which means that you'll be able to get into a little bit more of a detailed blend as opposed to the bigger ones. And if it's rounded, then it'll blend the shadow. And these guys I tend to use on the lower lash line. I'm putting color on the lower lid and connecting it to the upper makes the look more cohesive. So they are rounded, so they do offer some blending capability. This one and this one are rounded. The brush is rounded, but if I turn it, it's skinny. This one is going to be more of like a very detailed brush that I can use to apply a line of color, very detailed work. I also use an eyeshadow primer, and we're getting ready for stage performance. We are warming up, and so we tend to get a little warm and sweaty, and so we don't want our makeup to start melting away. Using the eyeshadow primer allows for a better longevity of the makeup. This is called a color switch. I open the tin. Inside is what looks like a dry sponge, and this guy is kind of helpful in a pinch. If I'm putting color on the brush and I apply it to my eye and I need to use this brush for a different color, then I just go in here and rub the brush, and it kind of cleans the excess off for me, and then I can go into another color. This is a tip that I like to share. As I'm doing my makeup, when I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I take the mirror and I place it below my chin, and while still having my face and nose look forward, I just point my eyes down at the mirror. That way I can see all of the space here. And so I alternate by looking down at the mirror, and then I can bring up the mirror too and see what it looks like head on. Doing eyeshadow, I kind of generalize the area of the eye in several ways. So this is going to be all of the space that we're going to use here. If I press hard here, I have a bone. It's called the orbital bone. This is what allows the eye to protrude out, right? And so I'm going to be utilizing this entire space here of the brow bone, and then it's going to end right where my eye naturally creases. So I have a crease right here. If I tilt my head, you can actually see the crease line right here. So it's going to be all right here that I have my crease. So when I say crease area, this is what I'm referencing. And I'm going to utilize the brow bone area, which is all the space, And so I can say lower brow bone area, mid brow bone area, and upper brow bone area. And then of course I have the lid. So I can say inner lid, which is gonna be right where the iris ends, inner lid. And then mid lid is where the area where my iris is located. And then outer lid or outer corner, the area of space from where the iris ends all the way to the corner of the actual eye. So those are different terms that I like to use. Now for your eye shape, some people have a crease lower or higher, or maybe they don't have as wide of a space, and that's okay. You can utilize whatever space that you have to maximize the look. So for example, if I have a small lid space, if my crease is a little bit lower and I have a smaller eye space, I can pretend like I have a bigger lid by putting that metallic eyeshadow actually placed above my natural crease and actually into the lower brow bone area to make it look like I have a crease. So makeup is a way to mimic things that maybe we don't have that we would like to accentuate. The first thing that I'm going to do is apply that eyeshadow primer, laying a little tiny little bit. So I'm going to apply this eyeshadow primer with my ring finger so I don't put too much pressure, and place it over the entire lid. Rub it in. I'm gonna take a Skin Color face powder. I'm gonna take a fluffy brush and I'm gonna apply that powder all over the eye area. This helps to set the primer so it's not wet. Now I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. eyeshadow, and I'm gonna first go in with this lighter brown using one of our larger blending brushes. I'm gonna tap into there, and I'm going to place that color in the mid to upper brow bone area. So I'm holding the brush at the end of the handle so that I don't put too much pressure onto the brush. I'm gonna do side to side motions, and then I'm gonna go into curly Q motions to blend out the color so that I don't have a harsh line. And I'm gonna bring that color all the way down to the crease. I'm doing the curly Q motions. So I'm just switching between side to side and curly Q. Now for the stage, we don't want to go too light. And I know if you're not used to having color on your face, it might feel very strange and unnatural, and that's a normal feeling to have. So my recommendation is to keep practicing so you get used to the idea of having makeup on your face. It won't feel as strange. I'm gonna go in again with that same color, and this time I'm going to concentrate the color slightly below that upper brow bone area, and I'm gonna concentrate it more in the mid brow bone area. So I'm creating an extra layer of shadow, just adding another layer, which is increasing the opacity or how much you see the color onto the eye. Doing side to side motions. Actually gonna start bringing it down to the outer lid a little bit, whatever is still on my brush. And going back to the upper brow bone area to do curly Qs and continue to blend so we don't have any harsh lines. Now I'm going to go in with mid-size brush, still with the rounded top, and I'm gonna go in with the next brown color. I stick with the lower brow bone area really close to my natural crease. It's going to create more of an intense shadowing effect. So I'm thinking in terms of light, mid, dark. When you're looking at your eye look, you're creating a sense of shadows. So I'm going to concentrate this color on the lower brow bone area right next to my natural crease. So I'm going to do side to side motions, and a little bit is going to get onto my lid. That's okay. I'm going to start applying this color from the outer corner of the brow bone, bringing it closer to the mid and inner area of the eye. Side to side motions, a little bit of curly Q, but not too much because we want to keep this color pretty contained. So if we start doing curly Qs, it's going to go into the brow bone area. We don't want to be lifting this color into the brow bone area. We want to keep it kind of contained closer to the crease. So this is where I will do side to side motions. And a little bit will go onto the outer lid, down to the lash line. And for this, I'm still holding the brush at the end of the handle. You can see that I'm going into the actual crease using side to side. And then when I get to the outer area of the eye, then I can do curly Qs to blend it out. So I'm sending that dark color up and out towards the tail of the eyebrow, so it helps to start to lift the eye. So I kind of angle the shadow a little bit up and out towards the tail of my eyebrow. Let's talk about a little bit about the density. I'm going to go in with this next brush. Compared to this first brush that we used for the brown color, they're both rounded. This one has more density in the brush than this one does. This one's less dense. There are less bristles than this one. So this one is gonna have more detail of the color. So if I apply the same color as I did with the first one, because this one has less density, it's going to allow for the color to be more contained on the eye. It's not going to blend out as much. I'm going to take this brush, this smaller blending brush, in with the same color we just used and apply it into the crease. So I'm going to start on the outer part of the eye, side to side. And like I said, because this brush has less bristles, it is less dense, then it's going to really keep the color in a concentrated area. This one is nice to go in after you use the slightly larger blending brush, the one that's more dense. This really helps to darken the crease, makes it look like you have a prominent crease. I'm bringing it up and out towards the tail. So you can see I have like a nice swoop figure going on. And all this takes practice. I did not start off knowing how to do eyeshadow, but I practiced and practiced, and I kind of learned how to do the eyeshadow according to my eye shape, and I watched a lot of tutorials. Practicing makeup for stage, you just gotta practice applying more color than you think you're comfortable with, just because the lights are going to wash out a lot of your color. We have this so far. I have about the brown that goes all the way up close to my brow bone, and then I have the darker brown, and then even more of a concentrated darker brown in the actual crease. Now I'm gonna go in with this liquid eyeshadow, and I'm going to use that technique where I have the mirror and I just look down so that my entire lid is open. I'm gonna apply the eyeshadow directly onto the lid, starting from the inner corner, and I'm going to place it all the way to the end of the middle lid. So I'm going to apply it in short strokes. Now you can use this to make it appear like you have a bigger lid by going actually above your natural crease to help enhance the idea that you have like a prominent crease. After some time, I'm going to allow it to dry, and then I'm probably going to go in with another layer because I really want it to pop. Okay, some time has passed. I'm gonna go in with another layer of the liquid eyeshadow. Nice. I would say 2 layers. Allow the first layer to dry, and then you can go ahead and apply the second layer. Okay, so I've allowed the second layer to dry, and now I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my eyeshadow look. I'm gonna go in with that mid-size blending brush. I'm gonna go in with this black. Now with black eyeshadow, it's the very last eyeshadow that I like to use because you don't want to go in too heavy with the black, because once you add the black, it's very difficult to blend it away. And so black is the very last color that I like to use. So I'm light-handed with the black so that we don't put too much of it in a larger surface area. We just concentrate it in a small surface area to really create the darkest point of the shadow, because the brown has been doing a lot of the work for us. So I'm going to concentrate this color on the outer V of the eyelid and bring it up towards the crease and into the crease a little bit. So this is going to help to lift the eye. So I'm going to tap a little bit and then do side to side onto the lash line. Very light-handed, holding the brush at the end of the handle and then bringing it up towards the crease and then into the crease, using side to side and into the crease where the silver is located. And then I angle it a little bit out so that we maintain that up and out look that we were doing with the brown. So if you notice with the colors that I've been using, they've just been neutral colors, browns and blacks. But you'll notice that with the brown and the black, when I apply it, there's enough color so that I am not able to see the skin underneath. So when I'm doing the eyeshadow, I try to apply enough so that I can actually see the color of the eyeshadow, as opposed to being washed out and I can see the color of the skin underneath. Especially for stage, you want to be able to see what color of the eyeshadow that you're using. So think about that whenever you're applying. Yes, it might feel uncomfortable, but take a step back, look at yourself head on in the mirror and see and think, can I see this my skin color underneath the eyeshadow? If the answer is yes, then I would say apply more. So I haven't gone and re-dipped my eyeshadow brush in the black again. I've just been blending and blending. So this is how I try to be a cautious user of the black eyeshadow, because I think a little bit will take you far enough so that you can just use whatever you apply on your brush, and even tapping excess out, you can use whatever is on your brush. And then only go in again if you really do need it, which again, it will take practice. It's kind of hard to tell if you haven't done it before, but what I'm going for is intensity, opacity, which is kind of synonymous with each other. And then also that there's no harsh lines. At the very edges of the eyeshadow, you want it to be like faded out. Not too faded, but not too harsh of a line either. So that when I look at myself head on, I can see that I have this silver, and then it's kind of blends into this darkness, which we've used brown, we've used black, and then it angles up towards my eyebrow, which actually lifts the eye. But I can still see that I have some brown here. Now, if we were gonna do the stage, I would probably tell myself, okay, I need to probably add a little bit more brown, because if I can hardly see the brown now on stage, all that it's going to look like is silver and black. And so if I can't really see the brown now, then I definitely won't be able to see it on stage. So I'm probably gonna go back and add a little bit brown. So I'm gonna go back in with this first brush that we used and go into the first brown, tap off the excess, and I'm going to only concentrate it right where the brown begins to meet that darker color. So I would say that's the mid brow bone area. I'm going to be very light because we've already have other eyeshadow applied by this point, but I'm gonna really maintain that brush side to side in that area. Super light pressure, because I'm trying not to blend away the intensity of the black, and I also don't want the black to come up too high. I'm gonna go back in with the same brush we used for the black, and I haven't applied any color to it, but I'm gonna see if I can marry the black to the brown we just applied. By going into the lower brow bone area. Nice. I think I might actually add a little bit more black into the crease, because I think a little bit was lost as we added the brown. So I'm gonna take this small brush, concentrate the color directly into the crease where the silver ends. And I'm being very light-handed with this as well. Nice. So you see, when we added the brown, it took away a little bit of the black. So I'm just adding it a little bit more, being very light-handed. So now we have brown into black. So there, I think, is really good. I'll go ahead and talk about how I would do the lower lash line. When I do my makeup, I like to do my eyes first and then my face. So in this video, I'm just doing the upper lid, and in reality, I will have done my face, and then I will go in to do the lower lash line. But I'm gonna take this pencil brush. I'm gonna go in with the first brown that we used, this lighter, and I'm gonna go in the same order that I applied onto the upper lid. I'm gonna go in with this lighter one, then with this darker one, and then finally with the black one, the same order. So I'm going in with the lighter brown, tapping off the excess, and I'm gonna place this color all along the lower lash line up until where my tear duct is. Doing side to side. And this one I will probably be more heavy-handed. on the eyeshadow. So now I'm gonna go in with a smaller pencil brush, and I'm gonna go in with the second color that we use, the darker brown. Tap off the excess, and this one I'm going to bring the color from the outer. I always start from the outer corner, and I'm gonna bring it all the way up to the middle of the iris, doing side to side motions and bringing it where the pupil is if I'm looking straight ahead. So you can see how working the lower lash line helps to make your eye look a little bit more not only cohesive, but allows your eyes to angle up. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with this smaller blending brush, the one that has a rounded top, but if I turn it to the side, it's skinny. I'm gonna use this one for the detail that I need to add to my lower lash line. I'm gonna go in with the black in the eyeshadow, and I'm going to tap, tap, tap along the lower lash line, starting from the outside and working my way in. So I tap, 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 and then I can go in with the side to side, being really light with it. And this one I'm going to concentrate in the outer third of the eye, so it intensifies what we've already added with the dark brown. I'm also going to apply additional product onto the upper lash line, starting from the outer portion and working my way up, using side to side motions. And this is going to help intensify the color from the lash line of the lid. And it helps to marry what we've done on the lower to the upper lash line. Nice. I think this is a good stopping point for the eyeshadow. We've used neutral colors and then we applied the silver. From here, what I would do is go in with a black eyeliner. I'm using this one by NYX Epic Ink Liner. It's a liner that has the felt tip. Draw a line across. Doesn't have to be thick, especially if you don't have a large eyelid. I just do a small wing. So doing the eyeliner helps to conceal the lash band for when I apply false lashes. There won't be a space of silver in between the fake lash and my true lash line. So that's why I do the eyeliner. Now I'm going to apply mascara to the upper lashes and to the lower lashes. From here, after the mascara, I would apply the fake lashes. So this is the finished eye look. In order to complete the video, I think I'm gonna do my eyebrows. I'm gonna go in with this LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil. I'm gonna go in with the spoolie first to brush the hairs. And then I'm going to apply short strokes to the eyebrow, starting from the lower portion of the eyebrow and bringing it all the way down to the tail. And then I'm going to do the upper portion of the eyebrow, starting from the tail and coming back in towards the middle in short strokes. This portion of the eyebrow, I do short strokes starting from the base and point them up. So that way it mimics like little hairs. And then I do a little bit of coloring on the inside for the brow. And then I'll go in with the spoolie and brush all that product in to blend everything. probably clean this up so it looks a little bit more sharp. I would say that is everything. You can see from afar that I have the eyeshadow done, but I can do another video of how I would do my makeup for this show. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you.